Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed. So excited to have you here. How has COVID-19 exposed the fragilities of our food systems?
Well, thank you very much, Marie-Claire, and it's great to be with you and have this conversation. Quite frankly, what has happened is that really COVID has exacerbated the fragilities that were already there. We already were seeing a number of people who were already suffering from hunger, and with COVID now, the risk is even greater. But I think what the lockdown has done is that it has affected most young people in areas of, in the rural areas where the informal sector is, and so therefore that's a loss of livelihoods, that's a loss of income. So it really does make it very difficult to connect to the basic needs in one's life, and therefore nutrition, hunger, all at risk and exacerbated. The disruption of the supply chains, which in turn impact the markets, that's also been across borders a very big challenge from COVID, again exacerbating those food chains from production all the way to market. In that disruption, we also see food becoming more expensive, and so therefore not as accessible, even where we have it. I would say last but certainly not least, the food loss and the waste will increase if you cannot get to where the production is to get it to market. And you know that that's a big discussion for us on the Food Systems Summit.
Thank you so much. My name is Jessica Vega. I am indigenous people from Mixteco people. I am a current co-chair and the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus. My question is, the food is so much about everything in our lives, from culture to family. Tell me, how the food has shaped your life?
Thank you very much, Jessica. Well, we come from regions where food is very much a part of our family and community life. It's a place of gathering. It's a place even in the preparation of that food. And for me in my country, this is very important in different ways. First, I have a country that's very diverse, and so therefore the food from one part of the country to another part it differs in terms of local customs and religion and traditions, and it's very rich.
Thank you for sharing the big answer.
It's I mean, I think that as we work across countries and regions, it is remarkable how much potential there is for indigenous food. But maybe I could ask you a question, both of you, how food influences your life. You know, Marie-Claire, you're from Switzerland, and Jessica, you're Mexico. So again, two different regions.
It's important to talk about the food system, because in this current pandemic is the one big issues. And then this, as young indigenous person in the urban and rural context, I know that talking about the food is also talking about the land access to eat, agriculture, and the many forms production for food, but also it's fair consumption. Talk about the effects of the climate change, gender issues, also talk about the identity, because the food is part of the cultural identity. And this talking about the family and community, how can sharing the traditional knowledge and how this impact in the life is not only the passion for food system, it's also the urgency to talk about the human rights, and the food is the one of them. The food is the really impact in my life because they give me my identity. My life story is part of my passion, but also my collective process. I know with that what happened in my territory and the other territories of the 7 regions where there are indigenous people are not only problems, because also be part of the solution of the traditional way of eating, also high nutrients and can even medicinal. So we urge the world to respect and promote them for the more sustainable and healthy food system.
Thank you for sharing that. And Marie-Claire, how does this affect you?
So I grew up in the countryside of Switzerland, surrounded by small farmers, and we also have our own community garden and fruit trees. So I really grew up in a sustainable and climate-friendly agriculture system. But then only later I realized that this is not normal. This is not how other farms are working, and this is not how our food is growing, very unfortunately. And people also didn't know what is local, what is seasonal. So I joined Real Food Systems movement, advocating together with young people from around the world for this urgent transformation towards climate-friendly, sustainable, and real food systems. Because this is also the #1 solution to the climate crisis and as well the biodiversity crisis. So when we transform our food system, we can actually solve multiple crises. And this is what fascinates me a lot when we talk about food and the food systems. And this actually leads me to the last question we have for you, DSG, because you have been mentioning that this must not be just another conference, right? So this Food Systems Summit, what makes it different?
Look, what makes it different is that we're focusing on people and solutions. I think we have science, we have frameworks, we have policy, and what we need to do is to connect to make the changes. And the process itself, for me, makes me believe that it will be different. For instance, on the action tracks that we have that are focused on the homework we will take away from the conference to do are co-chaired by young people as well. And I think that that's important because you bring those solutions to the fore. So you're not just participating in the group, you're actually leading. And that's a difference that I think will augur well for us. This has been very exciting, and you really have engaged the imagination.
Gosh.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Andy Chavo, for this time and for joining this conversation.